Good morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Journeys of Restoration. I am Jacinta Canary. I am your host, and on this channel, I talk about my thoughts on forgiveness, my journey of forgiveness, my faith journey, and all things wellness and well being. Today, I'm delving back into my childhood and my primary school and secondary school, and then we're going to do a verse and a little bit of just exploring. I went to a Moravian primary school called George Schmidt Primary. George Schmidt, and we prayed every day. I was a minister, as you call a predicant, Mr. Vessels, very strict, but very strong man, strong in values and morals and character. That's what I remember. And we prayed the Psalm 23, Psalm 121 in our assemblies, and we had regular kind of like small short meetings as well trips and other things. And then that was from sub A to standard 2. Then halfway through standard 3 I went to Frank Jobert in Shorterville, so then we could be close to my granny who lived in Causton. So mom and dad would drop us off in the morning, then go to school, and then from school we'd go back to my Oma Betty's house in Causton in Curtis Street. And that was the rhythm and the routine. So I spent more time with my cousins as well. And last week I mentioned about the female cousins, and I just wanted to give a heads up to the male cousins. Bernard Booty, my grandpa's favorite, who seemed to think he was a little adult because my grandpa took him everywhere. And Ivano, my cousin, who's gentle, kind, and Theodore. So these men is kind of like stood out to me now as I'm looking back, and the kind of male relationships that was formed, qualities and characteristics. It's good to belong to family. It's good to know what's good and what you value and you're worthy of. My secondary school, I went to St. Thomas Senior Secondary School, which was a Catholic school. So we did have some masses. It was a church across the road, St. Martin de Porres in Galvindale. I think it's Cobus Road. Yeah. And I had good high school years. I was very creative. I didn't like maths and accountancy, so I chose the creative stuff. I love needlework and sewing. I thought I was going to do become textile designer or something creative, because I love filling around with materials and fabrics, because my grandma used to sew with me. My grandpa used to work on the buses, so sometimes he would come back with fabrics and materials and things. My grandma showed me how to sew and to embroider, so my love for needlework and creativity started. That's a little bit about that background of my schooling. So I have fond memories, also challenging times. I didn't feel pretty or had lots of friends in school. Guess I felt distant and strange because of other childhood trauma experience I've experienced. So I had a fear of men who speak loud and harsh and is just overly dominant, and that probably fed into my relationships of how to connect, and we'll delve into that later on. But now I'm going to go to Ephesians 5 verse 1 and 2. So Ephesians chapter 5 verses 1 and 2, and we read, "Imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children. Live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God." And what does that mean? So fill your life with love. Do not get too hung up on the petty feelings and petty emotions, because in order for us to be as family and living in love as God lived, He wants us all to get along. And I also want to add on to that, forgiveness is accepting people in a loving way and not trying to change them. So don't go about prescribing your Christianity, your faith, or your belief on other people. Accept people for where they're at, and that you'll have a more grounded, genuine, authentic response of just learning to love and accept people for who they are. And thank you for listening and joining. I will see you next time, and stay blessed and beautiful. Thank you. Bye bye.